Are the rarest Pokemon in a game... I'm sorry, I can't do this, bro. I've played through so many games in the Pokemon franchise using the rarest Pokemon encounters, and I think we've covered basically every angle that we could by Sword and Shield. I'm playing this yee-ass game with no voiceovers for some reason, and I just don't have a reason to care. Every other game had an interesting angle, you know? X and Y had a bunch of form variations, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon have some of the toughest fights in a vanilla Pokemon game, and the rest of the games are actually fun to play. But Sword and Shield are where my casual interest in the franchise really and truly faded. Not only did Game Freak dump a buffet of wank that I personally don't like with these games, they're also notoriously both handholdy and dead easy. This is the first game where your Pokemon can call in a blue shell if they love you enough. While there are some notably rare encounters in the game that, for clarity, don't include your starters, gifts, or legendary Pokemon, I wasn't sure if I could really be bothered to pretend I'm having fun playing this game as I usually do in these videos, you know? It's like, if only there was a way to play these games that just made it that much better this time around. The Pokemon Nuzlocke is truly a renaissance in terms of changing how you view a Pokemon playthrough, turning a cozy adventure with your best friends into one of stakes and heartbreak that spike the difficulty and make every attempt of mine in the past way more fun. Heavy emphasis on attempt, by the way. I've never legitimately beaten a Nuzlocke before. Not because I'm bad or lose interest, but... oh wait, no, they're the exact reasons. However, I think that in this Rarest Team video, it could do with an added splash of stakes, given that these are the games I find to be particularly overbearing with their help towards the player, and that makes each rare encounter that much more valuable. Speaking of the rare encounters in this game, from my research, I came to the conclusion that specifically 8 evolution lines of the 400 Pokemon Pokedex in this game stuck out to me as rare. Is this number correct? Almost assuredly not. I'm probably the most wrong as I have been in this series at this present moment, and rather than addressing how wrong I am, I'm just going to ignore the facts and continue to spread misinformation. But it'll be this octo set of Pokemon that will walk the tightrope of life and death, to see if we can topple this region's undisputed champion, which poetically leads into our first encounters of this run, all the way in the wild area of this game. As, to the best of my understanding, this area has 2 Pokemon that we can recruit right now. Charmander and Goomy. How befitting that given the right odds, time, and circumstances, you can gain access to an awesome pair of rare Pokemon in this run, with the former itself being the final Pokemon that we will face in this video. The circumstances to get these 2 are so right, in fact, that I cut out the entire section here talking about raid dens in this game. Trust me, it's like you have to use raid dens to get these guys, and I tried condensing the hunt into an interesting recap. It's not interesting. It's what we British folk call, in our country at least, fucking annoying. But being able to use the wild area to gain 2 great Pokemon before the game even starts really is wonderful. Almost as wonderful as our levels, like Jesus Christ, we're a little over leveled for this point in the game. Thankfully my Nintendo Switch has a speed up function built in, which is awesome in saving your time and mine, and I can pay for my sins by attacking our best friend Hop and his team when they pair up with us for a double battle. Trust me. He has it coming. But once we quell all the ruckus, we can actually get a move on with this game good and proper. We go to the stadiums of this game, where I'm given my gym challenge attire. Fun fact, my jersey number is exactly how many more days I have left on this earth, and we can see the brilliant voice acting in this game with the background music turned off. This is why God has left us. But once we see all the gym leaders and the proof that God came back for us, we start our gym challenge where I just know that nobody on our team is ever going to die. This is quite a long freeze frame. Hold on, editing me. Can we... Are you good? While the art of foreshadow might linger in the shadows, at the very least the start of this run isn't much to worry about. For one, we have Goomy. I like Goomy. Life is good, but against the first few fights that we're forced into at this point, such as against our rivals Hop and Bede, Charmander's level advantage is just unfair. Made worse given that with the first gym's level cap being at the historic high of 20, we can already evolve our de facto starter into Charmeleon. Like, the only thing going wrong at this point is that I spelt his name wrong for a majority of this playthrough. Well done, Luke, you twat. Especially as, after getting past Bede on Route 4, it's here where we have 2 more encounters to add onto the team, which, best of of all, technically shouldn't most likely even be allowed. First up for us is, coincidentally for this region, the Galarian Pokemon Milcery. It's most often found at a 20% encounter in this game. And in this run, give or take, I'm considering any Pokemon with a 10% encounter at maximum as rare enough for this squad. But given that Milcery has, no joke, like 60 different evolution variations, by technicality, it can be considered rare by virtue of however it evolves, so that's why it's here. Also, I've never used one of these Pokemon before, and also, it's my video. I can do what I want. Ash Ketchum, talk to the camera for a bit. I don't really get this bit either. Second in this area, however, is also a technically rare Pokemon that, unlike Milcery, has seen some shine in this series of videos. Eevee. This is a 5% encounter in Pokémon Shield, so it's already rare enough to be considered, but it's also a gift Pokemon available to the player if you've played Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee. So it's a good thing I've not touched those dog-ass games before. I need the numbers, and Eevee functions perfectly for this squad by being able to evolve in whichever type that I please. Even relative to the fact that we don't have the first gym badge, this is just a flat-out amazing quartet of rare Pokemon available to a player. Which makes it a shame it's in these games. Look, I've given my grievances for how handholdy these games are against the games of yesteryear, which are obviously better because I played them when I was younger, but Sword and Shield, man, I just want to play the game, but I have to look at some stupid goddamn images in a hill because this dog has its balls on my hand. Wait, no, I said that wrong. In spite of the ease of toppling obstacles so far, or the pain of actually having to play the game how the developers intended, we'd finally made it to Turffield, home to the first gym in this run. By chance, if this is your first time seeing a Pokemon Nuzlocke, I'll have the rules in the description. For this video, I've added a few more. I'll be playing under hardcore Nuzlocke rules for one, meaning no over-leveling past gym leaders and no items in battle that aren't held items. Additionally, because I was feeling particularly cocky, my team size had to match the gym leaders, and I decided that I would not Dynamax in this run at all. It's too overpowered a strategy at our disposal, so we're scrapping it for this run. As when you have a forehead as big as mine, that's probably because it's made up of brains. With all these addendums in mind, though we have a pretty solid squad to square up to Milo's grass types with, I did not think that this would necessarily be an easy fight. That's because it was literally an easy fight. Though, again, it wasn't super straightforward with Milo Dynamax's Ace Eldegoss. Given the damage in its arsenal, I had to switch into Goomy, who was able to soak up the hits from Max Overgrowth to keep our Charmeleon healthy before it reverted back to its normal form. Thankfully, we had the answers in our squad both offensively and defensively to make this fight straightforward. But truly, I'd argue that Milo is the only gym leader in this game that can feel inherently free, especially at this point in the game. From my time with Sword and Shield, I did remember that I actually quite enjoyed the gym fights in this game as much as any other Pokemon game. Though this game absolutely leans towards a casual player, understandably, it actually makes mountains out of molehills with the Nuzlocke format. The second gym leader, Nessa, is most indicative of this. Water is historically a strong type across the franchise, and unlike Milo, we don't have many, if any, resistances. Pair these with her Ace Dreadnought being super powerful at this point to top it all off, with type coverage aplenty, and this fight could feasibly be the death knell for at least one of our team at this point. Fortunately, once again, to remind the viewers at home, my head and or brain is very large, so before we took to the battlefield, we're able to set up our squad to be far better equipped for the fight ahead. Firstly, we retreat back to Motostoke, as it's here that we can acquire a pivotal item. Rebattling the Cafe Master on a daily basis, if you're lucky, eventually gifts you with the pivotal item of a single Strawberry Sweet. Or you'd be forgiven for thinking that this is a pittance at most. For Milcery, this actually grants it for the chance to evolve, which, given that Alchemy has 7 sweets that it can evolve with and 9 types of cream that it can physically take form with, every Alchemy is technically less than 2%, albeit the rarest form of Alchemy is pretty simple. Many of the forms look interchangeable with one another, yet the Rainbow Swirl variation easily looks the best. So by spinning around for more than 10 seconds in the evening, miss, can you mind your own fucking business? That's what I thought. So by spinning for more than 10 seconds in the evening, you get it just right, giving you the best version of Alchemy. Only 834 more days to go. Well, this form is technically just as rare as the way better version, so we can keep on moving and continue the joys of evolution past this point too, as it's time for Eevee to step up to the plate. But who of the 8 different forms do I think is the best evolution to join us on this journey? Look, I need this, okay? Let's be clear, I'm not choosing the water evolution for any ulterior purposes. I have Alchemy for that. Vaporeon, meanwhile, can play an incredibly pivotal role in rounding out the team, with a huge stat boost and type diversity that we desperately need at this point. As even in a world where I can clown on these games for curing my wife's sleep apnea, by Gym 2, we need a trio this relatively powerful to try and get through Nessa. Fortunately, these preparations come to roost for the run, as Vaporeon is kind of busted here. It not only fillets Goldeen like it's nothing, but Arrokuda is the perfect recipient for some chicanery. After hitting it a few times with Charm, we switch out into Charmeleon, then back into Vaporeon, as it goes for a water-type move that allows us to heal up. A bit overkill, yet nevertheless allows Charmeleon to destroy Nessa's second fish in her squad. Then Dreadnought, much like every ace of trainers in this game, beckons defensive plays that we can deliver on. Vaporeon comes in on a Max Geyser to take no damage, eat the Max Darkness on the following turn before charming the opposition, and then have Alchemy easily take the final Dynamax turn for minimal damage. 2 magical leaves later, and we'd utterly destroyed Nessa in a calculated victory. You know what, guys? I take it all back. This shit is easy. This shit is tough, actually. Not gonna lie, even with the required forethought to earn the second gym badge, I was still feeling pretty cocky at this point. When we squared up again to Bede, even though he's able to be a complete arsehole and almost ruin my team with the move Endeavor, we managed to brute force our way through his slightly scary team because our options were just so good here. But Bede was simply a warning shot. Kabu might as well be an artillery force. A trio of fully evolved, super powerful, and relatively diverse fire types makes Kabu both one of the most relatively difficult gym leaders in the franchise and an absolute ball ache for us in this run. For as much guff as I give Sword and Shield, and for as much as you might think Vaporeon could steamroll him, this guy can ruin runs. I don't know why I think that or where this translucent monochromatic footage being overlaid came from, but believe me, Kabu and his team instilled a great deal of fear in my Rarest team, which in some fashion makes for a rather pleasant turnabout in these videos, as here we have to get our team somewhat in order if we wanted ideally 0 but most likely minimal bloodshed. So acquiring essentials like leftovers and a Rarest berry for held items, as well as the immensely useful TM in this game, Protect. It meant that we were in a solid position with the 3 that we were bringing to this fight. But was it going to be enough? Well, the start of this fight boiled down to one thing. Could we avoid being burnt by Kabu's lead Ninetales, as that single domino ends up collapsing any success that we would have planned? Thankfully, on this for sure first attempt, Kabu is psyched out by us using Protect on the first turn. Because of this, he opts to go for Quick Attack instead of trying to burn our bestie, letting us take down his lead with 2 Water Pulses. And I planned this fight down to the wire as I made sure to edge my Vaporeon. It's experience. We're at level 28 and that boost is big for us. We now had an even stronger water type to take on the rest of Kabu's team. As though we were inflicted with a burn by his legendary puppy, I managed to do a great plan of wasting everyone's time. Alchemy is huge due to it knowing the move Aromatherapy, yet I'm just a dumbass who not only lets it tank a nasty Flame Wheel, I also switch out when Arcanine is almost guaranteed to go for Will-O-Wisp again, meaning all I did for 3 turns was let Alchemy get chewed up while nothing changed for us. Still, Vaporeon does us a solid by not buckling to a bite flinch on the following turn, putting us in a fantastic spot health-wise in a 3v1. However, now the Dynamax Pokemon were starting to reach their critical peak, and Center Scorch is exemplary to this. If it wasn't for the fact that Vaporeon had the move Charm, I really feel like our team would have had to have made a sacrifice. But instead, this move neuters the invertebrate enough to let Vaporeon live. Then, we can summon Charmeleon to tank the final few moves coming its way, albeit we're still in a spot of bother. G-Max Centinferno gives an additional effect of trapping the target in battle, which, while seemingly not that terrifying, ends up getting scarily close to our de facto starter meeting its maker. Luckily for us, a held Citrus Berry is enough to keep above the flames, before switching around once or twice until we can get Vaporeon in on a slightly scary smokescreen. Amazingly, we had a contingency plan in place for this all along. One that got us scarily close to the wire, as we both end up with basically 1 HP between us, yet fortunately Vaporeon has coincidentally kept Swift in its wheelhouse to guarantee a hit on the last of Kabu's Ace Pest. A truly triumphant win that I totally didn't make unnecessarily harder due to my own brain failing an ollie. Yet in spite of how hard it might have actually been, it was one that felt so good to succeed in. And I just want to clarify one last time in victory that I did not edge my Vaporeon. I mean, I did, but a future me, cut away to something, please.
Olsen, no childbirth. Beyonce, no dating men.
So do you play Pokemon?
Biseku, no sexual relations with men. Okay.
In spite of the incredibly tumultuous journey to escape Sword and Shield's early game, we'd made it through without losing a single teammate, which just goes to show how impressive I am as a person and Pokemon trainer, paired with our ability to expand horizons in the remainder of the Galar region. But while I'm sure you guys are dying to know about all the fun story elements of this game, unfortunately the speed up button on my legitimate console automatically activates when the game ends up being so goddamn boring, which is just a shame. In truth, this video is more or less an ensemble of major battles with some rare encounters scattered amongst it, with 2 more additions available to us just outside the next major town destination of Stowonside. So let's see how these new teammates affect us and our team. Well, conveniently in the Glimwood Tangle, we're able to eventually encounter one of Galar's finest for this journey in the Pokemon Sinistea. Oh, wait, hang on. I'm looking in my notes and it's telling me that Sinistea is actually an 11% encounter, with 10% being dedicated to its more common fraud form, while a much rarer 1% authentic form is part of this area too. Which is so cool and awesome, and I stopped looking for this guy. Look, we have 4 powerful Pokemon already on our team, so I wasn't even gagging for new members of the roster already, but it turns out that there's already another encounter here that far exceeds anything Sinistea could do in my mind. Oranguru. I love that this guy ends up being rare enough to be recruited in this game, not only due to it being just a pretty cool Pokemon that's underrated from Alola, but what really sells me on it is that Oranguru is fucking broken. Let's best demonstrate this in the fight ahead against the 4th gym leader, the Ghost-type specialist Alister. Bear in mind, during this time, Charmeleon reaches its apex by evolving into Charizard, and yet it's only ancillary to the process of complete destruction over the ghoulish schoolchild, by bringing his Yamask down to red health from a flamethrower, then burning it on the following turn with Will-O-Wisp. Oranguru can use this environment to completely destroy the rest of Alister's team. It knows Nasty Plot to be able to massively increase its special attack, yet this is compounded further by the move Stored Power, which increases in power the more stat changes you have available. What do you think happened for the rest of this fight? That proved one of 2 things. Firstly, Oranguru is just kind of busted, but by chance, if you had a question as to why I didn't do Nuzlocke in other versions of these videos prior, this is why. A lot of the times, these are just dumb forays around a region where I can mold a narrative or through line with several attempts of failure. When you have a Pokemon like Oranguru, you just have an incredible default answer to fights going forward, which will still be somewhat enjoyable, yet it just makes the next portion of this video a little bit more trivial. Like, I could have tried to do something dumb and fun in the fight against the Fairy-type gym leader Opal, but literally, in her gym fight, you're asked questions throughout, which give you a stat boost if you guess correctly. You know, a little fun casual flavor for players. That in turn leads to me wiping out her Gigantamax alchemy in a single shot. The 6th gym poses slightly more difficult options ahead for us, as ice types aren't as cleanly taken out by our orangutan. But yeah, we have a fire-breathing dragon? God, I wish she was real. Anyway, that's Melody taken care of, and the only real note of interest during this section was a recruit we made along the way, as at a 5% encounter rate, we can recruit ourselves a Morpeko. Quite interesting that the Pikachu clone of this region is so relatively rare in the region it's home to. Anyway, that's all I've got. It's cute and cool with a decent typing, but hang on. Did I mention that we crushed Piers yet? Sorry, it might seem that this video is a little bit more scattershot, but so many of the rare encounters are really good in this game, leading to cases like Alchemy being able to completely demolish much of the Punk Rocker's dark types before tagging into Charizard for the final KO against Skuntank. Although, if you think I'm not putting much effort in, I like to think I'm matching what the game put in. Seriously, for a lot of these videos where I can, I turn off the background music in games for improving the editing and video process. So when you walk into Piers' performance, this is what you hear. I think they're booing him. In the span of about 2 minutes maximum, we'd cleared through half the gyms left in this game, and it wasn't ever going to be anything other than a slam dunk in my mind. There might still be 2 rare encounters available to us, but we had an incredibly strong team that was only getting stronger upon reaching levels to evolve too. Although, there was still something in my mind. I remember this game having pretty strong gym leaders across the board, yet it was actually one in particular that I genuinely thought was perfect, because he was far and away the hardest. To be completely transparent with you, viewer, this wasn't the first time I'd attempted this run. I'd hazard a guess that this was attempt 4 due to things going south against Kabu, and any lost Pokemon in that fight was a big no-no, as we would need everyone available to us to give us the best chance of beating the Dragon Master, Raihan. His team is not only very stacked, with an Ace Tower Duraludon that is terrifying for our team, but with it being predominantly set in sandstorm weather, all the while happening happening during a double battle, this fight necessitates arguably as much resources and time as any champion fight would, and we would need to cover all of our bases. A squad with a shifted doubles orientated moveset, items that help compound what we can do, and a strategy much defensively minded to be able to try and prevail where we can. It was honestly a fight that I was dreading, but I think that makes for a more wonderful environment for a Nuzlocke. And the live commentary of this fight would do this so much more justice than me relaying the events back. I am worried. Jesus, okay. Okay, this isn't good. He's put out a pretty dangerous start, but I have a game plan. So, we just try and kill Flygon straight up. Try and mitigate any damage it could do to either Vaporeon or Charizard. Charizard is 4 times weak to Rock, and Gigalith knows Rock Blast. Flygon also knows Thunder Punch. I'm hoping, for whatever reason, they just target Charizard here. Please focus the efforts. Breaking Swipe. Oh, doesn't it hit both? Yeah, okay. Annoying and hurt a little bit, but I think that we can handle that. Okay. Please kill. It would be great if you could. Okay, good start. Okay. What does Gigalith do? What's your game plan, bro? Okay. Good prediction. Right. Now the game plan is a bit more straight-laced. We neuter Gigalith and we switch out Charizard. Okay. Good. The most likely... Yeah, okay. Who do you glare here? Okay, that's all right. That's all good. Rock Blast. Yep. Okay. That's fine. As this is getting less fine as time goes on. Right, I was slightly unlucky. Okay, so I think we do need a moment here. Let me just check. Let's just get some chip damage on both of them. And then let's try and set up Reflect. Okay, that's fine. That's more than fine. That's okay. It isn't going to do an amazing amount because it has the special defense boost in the Sandstorm. Oh, okay. No, scratch that. That's pretty all right. Okay, that could be a bit of a problem going forward, but that's fine. Oh, that's pretty bad, actually. I can probably afford one more turn of paralysis. I'm going to set up the rain. No, I'm going to charm. I'm going to charm Gigalith on the hopes. Doesn't do a great deal. Come on. I really need a Rangaroo. Annoying. It still is what it is. Okay. That's good. Right. Body press. It's based off defense, isn't it? Oh, crap. I forgot about that. Sandstorm hasn't stopped yet. I think I just go... Right. The plan involved switching at some point. I think Sandaconda goes just for Encore. I can just feel it in my bones that it does that. So I'm going to set up the rain to remove the chip damage for now. And I'm going to bring in Alchemy. I really need Sandaconda to go for Protect. That's fine. Brilliant. Okay. Right, this is actually a huge dub here. Okay. Rain Dance is good. Body Press is less good. Okay, but again, it's not doing a huge amount, so I think we're okay. Right, Muddy Water. I just have to go for it. But then I also Encore Sandaconda. Okay. Brilliant. Did this kill both? Yes. Yes, it will. That's bad. That is bad. Oh god, this is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough. But that was a double kill. Good experience. Now, it is a 4v1, but his last Pokemon is terrifying. Here's the hope. I have to charm. I have to charm here. And I have to hope it doesn't go for Vaporeon, because I'm going to hope... I didn't bring Protect with it. Oh, why didn't I do that? I'm going to hope... I'm going to have to hope that it goes for Max Steel Spike. And Charizard can make it. I should have got Heavy Duty Boot. I just realised way too late. It's in the Galar mine as well. I could have just gone and got it, I think. Okay, did go for Max Steel Spike though. Oh, like a fucking trooper, it tanked it. But I'm going to need something very big here. Amazing. That's amazing. Okay, that's really, really good. Okay. Just have to play to my outs a little bit. So, possibly goes random move. Possibly sees the kill on either Pokemon. Maybe it goes for Max Rockfall. I did kind of plan for this. I just need to hope. I need to charm again. Hope I break through. And then go with Alchemy. Please. 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 Okay. Okay. Is that on? Okay. Okay. Reflect is good. Charm is good. That's annoying, but that's what it is, isn't it? We've just procced the Citrus Berry, which is amazing. I think we might just make it through. I'm going to have to hope that we land the Charm, and then it's going to go for Iron Head. I think we can tank it. And just to play safe, I'm going to go for Recover. Okay. Come on, Alchemy. Come on. Okay. Okay. We're still in it. We're still in it. Okay. And we recovered, which is great. Charm. Okay. Okay. Though body press is very much a concern. Thankfully, Vaporeon went through that whole escapade unscathed. So now we just go for broad damage, I think. Maybe just to be on the safe side, I recover? No, just raw damage. Come on. It's got low special defense. Oh no. We were so close. Man, we had almost made it over the line with 0 deaths through this gym challenge. But I messed up big time. I could go back and think about putting Protect on Vaporeon instead of Rain Dance for genuinely no reason, or any other strategy that would have better functioned. But that's the bittersweet nature of a Nuzlocke, isn't it? Could've, should've, would've done something else, yet this was the reality. A death at both an opponent's hands, and in part, a death at our own. So long, Vaporeon. It was a pleasure finding a Pokemon as rare as you, and I'll do what I can to make it to the top in your honor. Okay, did we really need that as the epitaph? We left Hammerlock with both mourning in our heart and the final gem in our pocket, which enabled us to head towards our final location in this journey with a vengeful chip on our shoulder. But before we traversed to Wyndon, it was clear that we'd need to try and fill the hole in our squad as best as we could. So it was time to recruit the last 2 rare Pokemon in this region, which, firstly, obviously brings us back to the Glimwood Tangle. And though you might think that a Sinistea with a phony seal isn't eligible for this run, I don't care. If you want an honest-to-goodness 1% encounter, that can be saved for teammate number 2, as it's down by the shores of Route 9 that we can eventually find the final rare Pokemon of this run. Delmise. Very similar in its cool factor to Oranguru, being an interesting Alolan Pokemon, with the notable absence of it not being able to break the game like the Psychic Monkey. However, still a big fan of this dude. Cool typing, cool stats, cool moves, and a great member of the team. So Sinistea can enjoy its time in the box for now, while it's these 6 rarities who I take from Route 10 all the way to its awkward end before stepping into Wyndon. Luckily for me and for you, the endgame of Sword and Shield is an effective boss rush, with 8 mandatory battles before we could step up to the champion, Leon. Though in this time, it really allowed me to reflect on the beauty of the Pokemon Nuzlocke as a concept relative to this game, as it's in a lot of these fights where different skills come to shine. Let's take the first fight, which is against Marnie and her Dark-type team. This fight alone distills a Pokemon battle to that of a puzzle. It's simple enough when we have a Pokemon like Alchemy, who is able to immediately knock out her lead Liepard with Dazzling Gleam. To add to the layer of Baby's first RPG, switching into Oranguru on Toxicroak gives us the easy answer to the Poison-type fighter with a Psychic. But once Scrafty hits the field, we see Mate in 3. Switch into Morpeko in the case of a Dark-type move, switch into Alchemy after prompting a Brick Break, and then hit Scrafty with Encore. GG. We use Acid Armor to max out our defense, Recover to heal up any lost HP, and Dazzling Gleam to clear through the rest of her team. Such a satisfying set of plays, amplified in the Nuzlocke setting. Our 57 face-off against Hop is also somewhat indicative of this, although the focus comes down far more on keeping our team as alive as possible, while we're painfully missing one soldier. So many options across our team, like a newly evolved Poltegeist, makes for amazing options when squaring off with our rival. Thanks to it knowing Nasty Plot, it can boost its offensive capabilities, whilst healing itself back congruently with Giga Drain to take out his lead double. Then with Snorlax, after strength sapping it to lower its offense, it primes the field for Oranguru to enter and come up with something devious itself. Once that works out well enough to take out his Snorlax and Pincurchin on following turns, then we can rely on Charizard to melt down his Corviknight too. And lastly, his Rillaboom ends up being slightly terrifying in its Gigantamax form, but the breadth and strength of our team's numbers allows us to be able to eat the hits across the board for all the moves that it had before a burning fate befalls Hop's partner Pokemon. Had we not kept our roster as strong as it is, we might have faced disaster there, but we prevented our team from snowballing throughout this run in these circumstances for another easy win. Beyond these two victories, I wasn't really bothered too much about the game ahead of us, given that so many of the Pokemon trainers standing in our way are type specialists. But before we take on the de facto Elite Four of this game, we have some women chatting the nonsense that is this game's story. Look, Oleana, I just do not care. I can't lie, so we're battling her. Her team is made up of a quartet of Pokemon that I'm sure we all want to pin our missile to. Yet while our team is able to whittle away at opponents with moderate to little resistance, it's her G-Max Garbodor that poses a bit of a problem. We're still able to pass around the damage amongst our team to avoid anyone in particular being put into the dirt. Yet it still does so much in this 3-turn sequence that we're kind of left to Poltegeist to get us out of here. Oh bother, I thought. If only there was a way to reduce this bin bag's firepower for the rest of the team. I know! Critical hits, yeah, they can happen, and sometimes those critical hits mean that you smash your teapot to oblivion. Gonna be honest, Poltegeist probably thinks it's getting a bit of a raw deal from me, given that I remember Vaporeon far more fondly. But what rubbed salt in the wound the most was that after this battle, we're treated to this as the cutscene of the villain's main monologue for the game. My Pokemon died for a PowerPoint presentation. Well, at least that makes team building for the rest of this game easier, as now we're stuck with hopefully a team of 6 to take to the top of the Galarian Mountain. And truthfully, with 4 to 5 massive battles standing in our way, I wasn't quite sure if we'd make it. Then I played it and it was sort of piss easy. First up is Bede, the Psychic Fairy dual type specialist. Now, I was hoping that we would have had a ghost Pokemon in particular to make this part easier, yet we luckily had a big scary fire type dragon to use instead. Charizard flamethrowers his lead 3 Pokemon, and after being the source of all their demises, I thought about an ever so clever plan against his ace Hatterene. Firstly, we know he's going for a Psychic type move, so we go into Morpeko, who's immune to it. Right, well that's a slight fucky-wucky, but in spite of this insane move to do, Oranguru and Alchemy managed to eat 2 G-Max Mites to stay healthy, before Goodra chips away at its regular form with Acid Spray. Then Delmise luckily comes in on a Carmine to kill this thing with an Anchor Shot. It's a good thing that Morpeko made it through that fight, as I wanted it to be the centerpiece of our strategy later on. Not against Nessa, surprisingly, as her water types aren't that formidable. Seriously, I wish it was more entertaining. But the truth of the matter is that beyond Morpeko once again nearly dying, a bunch of our team is able able to pull their weight across Nessa's fish, before the combination of Giga Drain and Dragon Pulse from Delmise and Goodra respectively earn us another win. Alister, on the other hand, is mostly a one-man show for Morpeko. Alchemy first locks in his lead Dust Noir into Shadow Punch with Encore, which means Morpeko takes very little damage once on the field. Then we can boost our speed big time with Agility, perhaps a redundant idea to use since Morpeko is already super quick, but this helps boost our move Power Trip. Much like stored power, it increases in its damage the more stat boost that we have, so this dark type physical move lets us rip through Alister's ghost types like it's nothing. Then we watch it also fail to get the kill on his Gigantamax Gengar before our Max Ooze leaves it on 9 HP. Dude, Morpeko, you've been to heaven and back like 4 times in the past 7 minutes. Can you just stay on this earth, man? This leaves us with Raihan and Rose as the final 2 trainers to face off against, both arguably as culpable for the deaths of our 2 fallen Pokemon in this game, whether it be at their hands or their assistant. So I think it's incredibly befitting that in our time of vindication against these 2, they're the biggest losers of this entire video. Rose, for instance, hijacks the events of the championship tournament for reasons that are so goddamn stupid, but he tries to be this magnanimous yet insane figure in destroying the current Pokemon world, only to be stopped by a Charizard using Flamethrower 6 times over 5 Pokemon. You didn't think too much too good, did you, buddy? And Raihan, in spite of him being an incredible gym leader in a vacuum, might be the most horrendous Elite Four trainer I can think of. Our plan was to get the floor ready for Oranguru to use a combination of Calm Mind and stored power to wipe through his team, which in reality was an incredibly stupid and flawed plan that would only work against a stupid and flawed opponent. But this guy has a team with Pokemon that can change the weather to their liking, and in the absence of their weather condition on the field, they will always prioritize putting it up. This was news to me when I was in this fight, yet meant with the correct circumstances, Oranguru could reach inner peace to the voluntary ineptitude of the Dragon Master before wiping through the rest of his team like it's absolutely nothing. All in all, the final leg of this game was filled with so much insanity surrounding it that it managed to juxtapose towards exactly what I love about a Pokemon Nuzlocke. So many wrinkles, angles, and interruptions across a game that make that bond with a team you've assembled that much more beloved. But after it's all said and done in this game, taking out a poisonous dragon with the help of some random dogs that no one gives a shit about, all I'm thinking about is how much fun that I've had. Pokemon Nuzlockes are so much more enjoyable than I really remembered, which makes taking the crown as champion in this region more desirable than any other run before it. Blocking this, however, is Leon, a trainer with an incredible team in diversity, power, and answers to our set of 6. Yet I knew that the rare roster of Pokemon, win or lose, dead or alive, would be some real champions in my heart. Just very quickly before we start the fight, we all can agree that this guy is probably like the worst designed character in Pokemon. He's got the Yankee with brim, he's got the cape, he's got the Jeff Hardy beard. It's so awful, man. I think I've psyched him out because I'm actually a little bit worried about this guy's team. But we've got this. This is for Vaporeon. And this is partially for Poltegeist. Here we go. We are challenged by Champion Leon. Pretty happy with this type matchup. We are completely immune to ghost type moves, and it doesn't really have a great deal I think it can do, especially thanks to our light clay and light screen. Perfect. Couldn't have asked for a better start. I do wonder if it's gonna... Is it going to go for... It's just outspeed. Does this guy outspeed us? Let's see. It doesn't. Okay. So this probably doesn't do a great deal at all. No. That's fine. So you go for Sacred Sword. Okay. A little bit more painful than I thought it would be. Let's go for Foul Play again. Okay, right. Boring. Does Foul Play make contact? Now, I wonder if that is even a problem. Also, I'm just going to play your game, bro. I'm not above it. I want to win this. Okay, there we go. Finally. And the attack drops didn't even factor in one bit. First Blood. Although, light screen wore off as I conveniently sped up the game. And you're a bit of a problem, I think, because you definitely outspeed and you know Dark Pulse. So who do I go with in your place? Okay, that was pretty good. We also have a really annoying item in the Bright Powder, so maybe it'll come to our advantage. Right, let's just get the battlefield a little bit safer for us. Okay, never mind. You're dumb. That's good for us, and so now I think we take a bit of a risk and we go for Delmise. Should be all fine. Yep, okay. Now, I do think that it's tempted to go for Dark Pulse, and I'm hoping it won't even matter. Oh, maybe I even go Giga Drain, just to play it safer. Oh, yes. There we go. Assault Vest plus Light Screen. And we now do decent amount. Doesn't bring it into torrent range. Definitely kills on the next turn. Just have to avoid the flinch. Okay. A little bit annoying. Okay, right. Oh, So that's another play that he could have done. Does it kill? Oh, it does. Okay. Was that crit? No, wasn't even. Okay. Maybe the AI isn't as strong as I thought it would be, even in this life or death setting. Now you are concerning, but we go back. Ooh, do I want to go back to square one? I think I do. Odds on it has to go for Shadow Ball here. Nice. Good prediction. Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Foul play does seem like a good move in hindsight, but let's just set up the light screen. There we go. And now that's 8 more turns of pretty vital protection, given how specially offensive Leon's team is. Oranguru clutching up as it has done since its introduction. Okay, halfway done. Right. This guy knows Poison Jab, Iron Tail, Outrage, and Earthquake. And it's basically just going to go for any move in its arsenal. That's actually... Oh, I didn't think about this. This is actually kind of bad. I do think the best chance we've got here is Delmise. Outrage, okay. Okay. You go back. So does this confuse it? No, it doesn't. Right. Okay. I've actually set up the environment to be a little bit mean here. But with Bright Powder and Haxorus knowing Iron Tail, which is low accuracy, I need to try and take this guy out instead. I need to be clever about this. Miss? Okay. Okay. That is cheap. Ooh. And it was almost dead effective. Oh, wow. Okay, no. That previous one was a high roll, I think. And yet, the humble dessert from Galar can just sit there while Haxorus perishes. That's 4 down. All of our team is still here. Now we get a little bit of a intermission before the main event. Maybe I'm just being mean. I do not fear this guy. Let's just go for light screen. I know what it wants to do. It wants to teeter dance. It was born to do it. The problem for Mr. Rhyme, though, is that I do not think Morpeko wants to dance with it. Yeah, no. It's here for aura maxing. Oh, we hit it with the Moid Destroyer and it still lived. That's fine, though.
Void neutralized.
And now we had made it to the final Pokemon of this Nuzlocke. But to win out, we still have to topple this guy. I do think we might have to see some broken eggs on the way. But I'm hoping, in my heart of hearts, that it can pull through. Gigantamax Charizard. We've got a pretty weak team, and it's got 3 turns of complete power. but we might just thread the needle thanks to Morpeko. What an absurd thing to go for. Why would you go for Max Roxfall there? You're hurting yourself. Well, Morpeko is definitely guaranteed to survive there. However, I think it has to go down as a legend that made me win my first Nuzlocke. Thank you, Morpeko. You are speedy, but this guy's going for max overgrowth for some reason. Although that should, yeah, okay. Thank you, Morpeko. Don't really know what the next play is here either. Actually, yeah, no, it is you. Gumi has been day one, paired with our ace starter of our own. And so let's rain on Leon's parade. There we go. Tanked it like it was nothing. And now we've weakened his fire type moves. But the thing is, I kind of wanted to end this run on Charizard v Charizard. And now it's got a speed boost and it knows ancient power. And I've got Rock Slide in my own arsenal, so I kind of wanna find a way to get it in to truly be the cherry on top. So, let's try and find our way through. It took a team of 6 to get to this point. And fortunately, it will take a team of 6 to topple this Titan. Alchemy, I'm just going to try and get it to lock in with Encore or Light Screen. Light Screen, Light Screen. Come on, Alchemy. Come on, come on. Hold the line. Nice. Well, Leon, I think it's curtains for you. And despite how ham-fisted it is for you to even own a Charizard in this game, like seriously, bro, you could have had like any other Pokemon as your ace, and it was this guy. It'll be a dragon to topple a dragon, and everyone at home, just know that love takes miles. And we hit. And a crit. Not too shabby. So long, Bowser.